Now, listen, we've got to get stuck in, haven't we, to your Chelsea, Rory. 1-0 win over Leicester at the weekend. Not exactly hugely convincing, is it? And there have been huge questions about Enzo Maresca as well. Before I ask you about your thoughts on him, let's hear from him, shall we? Because he was talking about the fans, some of which, as I mentioned, haven't been too happy, but he says they need to get behind the team if they are to finish in the Champions League spots. I'm going to pick out one thing there from Maresca, Rory. You have to be happy as fans because of the chances you created against Leicester. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's complete nonsense, isn't it? It's complete and utter nonsense. You're never going to play an easier Premier League game than the game against Leicester City this season. You're never going to come up against a more inept or average manager than you are Ruud van Nistelrooy this season. Like, this is the perfect fixture. You're playing Leicester City at home when the pressure is massively on them. Of course, Chelsea need to win this game. It should be more convincing. It should have been more entertaining. It should have been more in keeping with the Chelsea traditions. But if we remove ourselves from it, I think that you get these moments in most managerial careers. You know, when you think about the trajectory and the arc of most managerial careers, the second that any manager falls out with the fans, the second that any manager declares war on the fans. I can remember a big one. It happened, I remember I was there. I went up to Middlesbrough. We played Borough in the Cup, and Rafael Benitez had a real pop at the support. And don't get me wrong, Rafael Benitez was never welcome at Stamford Bridge anyway. But the second that he did that, it was over.
Is this a big pop at the support?
Yeah, I think so.
Saying I don't think it's that bad.
Well,
they should be more impressed with the performance. I don't think he's absolutely digging them out.
Well, he's having a go at the lack of support that he felt his team was getting in the stadium. It's effectively flagging something negative with the fans. It's effectively declaring war on the fans. So what I would do, he's suggested his piece. He's told us that he thinks the fans should be doing more. He's told us that he thinks that the fans should be more unilateral, more aggressive in their support. So maybe he needs to hear a few home truths. Maybe he should look at the abject way that his team are playing. Maybe he should look at the uninspiring way that his team shape up. Maybe he should have a look at Chelsea's pitiful record so far for the 2/3 this season. Maybe he should have a look at the woeful transfer market. Maybe he should have a look at what's going on above him rather than being a yes man for one of the most greedy ownerships in the country. So I think that Enzo Maresca has a lot to say about the Chelsea support, but I think what he should really be doing is having a look in the mirror and wondering why Chelsea support isn't feeling particularly connected to this group of players or manager.
I think there are two moments that he's had where he has definitely said the wrong thing. I think the first one was when he said that you weren't in a title race and properly denied it. You know, I think with that kind of question, you don't have to say you're in it. You don't have to say you're in it. But you don't have to also be so negative about it. From that moment, the form really switched, didn't it? It really did turn. The other thing I think that he got wrong, he was talking about some of your players and just I think it was Robert Sanchez, wasn't he? He was burying some of the other players on the pitch.
Yeah, but he was asked about Robert Sanchez. And he went, "Don't worry, how bad is Sanchez? Have you seen how many chances Nicholas Jackson's missed? How bad is Sanchez? Have you seen how many times Moises Caicedo misplaces a pass?" You're like, hang on a minute, whose side are you on? You shouldn't be equalising how bad a goalkeeper is by kind of having a pop at the players that are performing to a certain level. So no, but Ollie, you've been incredibly kind to him there to say that he's got two things wrong. Fairly recently, he told us that Chelsea Football Club, who 3 years ago to the very day virtually were officially the best football team in the world. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. Chelsea 3 years ago went to Abu Dhabi and became the best club team in the world. That's what happened. He's now saying that it's not even about us qualifying for the Champions League this year. It's a 2-year project for Chelsea to get back into the Champions League. I think that there are countless examples.
Do you know what? There is another one as well. He was talking about the cup competition when you went out of the cup, and he said, "No, it's all right. Give us more chance to focus on the league." I think you've got to think about the traditions of Chelsea. There, you've got to think about how important silverware is to them as a club and to a fan base.
Yeah, he at no point has he got it right. Like when you open this about Maresca kind of getting it wrong on the PR, Maresca getting it wrong in the way that he talks and converses with the media and therefore the fans. You said a couple. No, it's not. It's loads. Think about what he said yesterday in the post-match about Cole Palmer. Well, I've taken it to be about Cole Palmer. It was about Enzo Fernandez. Have you heard it? It's one of the most offensive things that I think I've ever heard, and it's actually proof that he isn't right to be the Chelsea manager.
So just in case people haven't heard this, I'm assuming you're talking about when he said that if Sanchez kicked the ball long, he would take him off. If Fernandes took the ball long, he would take him off. He used both as an example, because he has so much belief in his own style, which is this slow build up, pass it, wear teams down, and eventually.
But it doesn't work. It's all very well going, I believe in my system. Firstly, what's wrong with a bit of pragmatism? What's wrong with a bit of both? Like when Chelsea were good and Jose Mourinho was our manager, we would play some intricate, beautiful football, but occasionally you go long to Didier Drogba and you move up the pitch and you hope for the best after that. You do both, don't get me wrong. At times, Duff, Robben, Drogba, Lampard, it was some of the most sexy football that you could dream of watching. It was total football. But equally, go long and be pragmatic.
I genuinely think as well, Rory, that these kind of philosophies and managers being so stubborn is almost endemic in football, isn't it?
And it's so wrong.
And, you only have to look at Ruben Amorim. You only have to look at Ange Postecoglou. Maresca showing similar signs as well. Arteta even, at points, just unable to adapt.
It's because we've seen somebody like Vincent Kompany stick to his guns and fail upwards. That's what's happened. I think these managers realise that if they have an ethos or an identity, rather than being a pragmatic manager who is a serial European Cup winner like Ancelotti, that isn't the dream anymore. Everybody wants to be a B-Tech version of Pep Guardiola, and that's most certainly what Chelsea have got. But, when people want to talk about Cole Palmer, they go, why has Cole Palmer's form gone to pot, if we're frank?
9 games without a goal and obviously missed the penalty at the weekend.
Okay, why has it gone to pot? Is it possibly because we have a manager who is so stifling, so suffocating, that if you do something slightly off script, you're going to get substituted? Like, say Cole Palmer were to have a shot from 30 yards, beat a man, nutmeg a man, ping it from 30 yards, and it hits the bar, and the keeper catches it as it comes down. That will get him subbed, not applauded by a manager. Now, if you see somebody, a maverick, working magic like that, taking on a man, beating a man, doing something unpredictable, even if you then beat a man, drop a shoulder, play a through pass that's over here.
Which is baffling, because that is what Palmer is best at. And again, to equate it to other teams, it's really similar, I think, to what we've seen with Jack Grealish. Yeah. When he was signed from Villa, he was that kind of player. He would take on players. He was excellent. He didn't know what he was going to do next. And in many ways, the phrase is always, he's been pepped. And actually, when you look at a lot of those players, not just Palmer in the Chelsea team, they feel stifled, I think, by Maresca's
suffocated. Style. Like when I think back over the years, like Joe Cole is one of the most glorious footballers I've seen. Right, used to move so fluid on the ball, so easy, could beat anyone at twice. Look at the goal that he scored for Chelsea when we won the league against Manchester United at home. And what he did to Rio Ferdinand, it was embarrassing. It was so silky. It was just wonderful. When you try something like that to Rio Ferdinand, it probably doesn't work. Rio Ferdinand probably tackles you. But you try something a little bit speculative, and if it works, you score a historic goal that will go down as one of my favourite goals I've ever seen scored. I was in the goal. I was in the end. I was in the end behind that goal.
He scored.
I was in the end behind that goal. He wouldn't have beaten me, mate. For reflexes like a snake. I was in the end behind the goal, and it's one of the best goals I've ever. Joe Cole takes a shot off. We've won the league. We've beaten Man United. It's because Jose Mourinho allowed him the freedom to explore the possibility, the unlikely possibility that you beat Ferdinand. This geezer, who's nobody, by the way, for Maresca, absolutely nobody, is stifling the creative genes of Cole Palmer. Like, what do you think you are?
To play devil's advocate, though, Rory,
but there is no devil's advocate,
no,
Olly.
There is, you are 4th in the table at the moment. You're on 49 points.
Right, by circumstance, though. We're 4th by circumstance. We're 4th
what
because...
does that mean?
Well, Chelsea's points tally this season is a very underwhelming points tally. If you look at the teams that we've beaten this year...
I don't think with the context to which you went into the season, Pochettino had got you up to, 6th in the table. All right, there was the start of this mini rebuild. Start of the season, would you have guaranteed that Enzo Maresca coming in, who had come in, as a surprise from a championship job, would you have guaranteed that he was going to get Chelsea to finish top 4? I don't think you would.
No, I wouldn't. But what I would also have to... No, what you say there, though, is that expectations through the season changes. Like, I don't understand how we can say that there's any sort of possibility to play devil's advocate, or any sort of possibility that I'm wrong when you look at what Chelsea have been doing. It's like 5 wins in 14. Morecambe, West Ham, Wolves, Leicester, Copenhagen. We haven't beaten a side in the top 10. Like, not since December. So this year, We haven't beaten
the
a side
league
in the
table
top.
doesn't lie. You're still.
No, the league table can lie. That's not true. The league table can lie. There are examples of the best team not winning the league. There are examples of that. Like it can lie. The best teams sometimes it's not always the worst teams that go down. There is a world that it lies. And Chelsea sitting fourth in the league now. We're not the fourth best team in the country.
But you're telling me that if he does manage to get you to qualify for the Champions League, it's not a good season.
We're above Man City in the league. We're not a better team than Man City. They've done a double over us this season.
But if you qualify for the Champions League, this is what I'm asking.
No,
you can't deny that's a good season.
No, I absolutely agree. If we qualify for the Champions League, you are absolutely right. But have a look at Chelsea's fixtures, and then I guarantee you that you will reassess that and concede that Chelsea are going to do really well to finish seventh.
I hope so. Anyway, that might be good news for my Newcastle.
No. We're not going to make it. I don't think you're going to make it.
The thing is, Rory. This doesn't matter because you support Coventry now. So it doesn't. Yeah, all of this is completely irrelevant, isn't it?
Look, he's got himself a trending new haircut. He suddenly thinks he's the main man. Look at this. Devil's advocate and throwing. Who does he think he is, this guy?
Don't come at me for hair, Prince Charming.
Gabriel, this guy.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.